So the WomaJazz Festival is a national jazz festival that takes place in Italy, which seeks to promote women musicians, which I redefined as women artists, as I also invited 2 dancers to join me and 5 musicians on stage at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Prato, who have an outside amphitheatre where you're able to stage performances, dance performances, concerts and so on. So we all met last July in a music school in Prato, and we had 3 days to rehearse songs from my debut album We're Inside Out, which I released in the fall of 2007. We had the time of our lives, and we had the run of the music school, and the 5 musicians really enjoyed the opportunity to get to know one another. We had never played together, and we had come from Oslo, Paris, Rome, and France and Italy. I mean, we all met up and played for 3 days straight. And we were joined by 2 dancers from Rome, 2 dancers that I had met in a dance school in Rome, who had enjoyed listening to my music and who had said they would love to dance with me on stage. So I also had this idea to ask a photographer that I work with, Luciano Valentini, who is based in Siena, who took the photographs, who took the portrait photographs on my album, and who took the photographs that you see in this slideshow. Now, Luciano is passionate about music, and he knew the album and had worked with me before, so his presence on stage was really he's almost like the 8th member of our group. We had a photographer who was also taking video footage, but who basically projected that footage on a screen behind us, and so you have this sort of multi-dimensional show that occurred, sort of fusing music, dance, and theatre, and certainly the interplay between the dancers and the musicians fused, the old saying of Balanchine that you can hear the dance and see the music. Now, why we came together was rather interesting. We enjoyed the opportunity to take part in the festival. I think women account for 5% of the music world, and certainly we exchanged stories about this, and it's something that we realised that we had to address and had to deal with, and this is probably the best way of doing it. In fact, it was very hard for me to find, 4 women musicians, and I had to, in the case of Danielle, the sax player, I had to rely on MySpace, and had to go to Rome and in effect audition her. Or I should really say we auditioned each other. And then I also had to rely on my producer, Malika Makuf Rasmussen, who joined me on stage on bass, and she proposed the drummer and proposed the cello player. So the really fun part of the whole evening is that I told the musicians from the outset, you have to consider this as though this is the first time you're going to do this, and the last time. Really sort of each day is your last and each day is your first, and I think that really came through. Now, I didn't speak in between songs. We performed the song straight through, and at the end, when we sort of got into a sort of loop with the last song, and I thanked everyone in Italian, thanked the people for coming and so on. And that was very, very funny, because there was a sort of ripple that went through the audience who hadn't assumed that I could in fact speak Italian. Now, I lived in Florence for 4 years, and I still live in Italy part of the time, and I teach at the University of Siena. So they were, that was unexpected, but that's exactly what I was trying to aim for, because I didn't want to break the flow by speaking between the songs. And at the end, it came as a welcome surprise. And indeed, some people came up to thank me afterwards, and in fact said they couldn't follow the texts of the songs because some of them couldn't speak English, but they got something from it. And I think that was really what we all wanted to try and do, is to open up the songs, to open up the music so that it was accessible to everyone who was there. And I was very happy to see people of all ages And some people from Perato, some of my friends had come. My family were also there. So was the man that I love. And it was really quite a fun and necessary evening from many points of view. But certainly we all had a wonderful opportunity to respond to my music. And I think that that's what I love about live music, is it's so very unpredictable. And some people came to tell me that they found that the album and the concert were two very separate experiences. And I thought, well, that's then our job is done. That is really what we were trying to do, to keep things alive.